Does anyone have a question? Does anyone have a question? Somebody asked me today about, getting a job, working in the world, interfering with their meditation classes. And one of the things I've learned through my own experience is that when your primary need is to have a spiritual life, and coming to say these classes really work for you, the universe begins to work for you also. It really begins to create a life for you that makes it possible to not live in an either or world, but to live in a this and that and that and that world. That this and that comes about because people develop a system inside that's strong enough to live that way. And that kind of energy will flow through them that will create a world like that around them. I mean, I can only draw from my own experience. And of course, what I've seen, saw in Rudy's life, how the economic world, everything just made room for everything else. Nothing was in conflict with anything else. And I think that comes from a need that's so profound inside us to have a spiritual life that the universe begins to work for us that way. It doesn't create conflict. It allows us to do whatever is necessary to live on the earth and at the same time to have a spiritual life. And that grows out of an intensity of need inside a person to truly be with God and to do what they have to do in this lifetime to connect with a higher energy. I mean, some people, it means they have to go live in a monastery or a lamasery, an ashram, and I don't think that's essential. I think that if you arrive at that place inside yourself while you're living in the world, you have transformed life into a temple. Life itself has become sacred. But if there are always conflicts, and trust me, I've heard them all, it's still an either or world, either this or that, or this or that. It's not a world of inclusiveness. God is inclusive. God is union. Yoga is union. with everything, an all-inclusive life that, doesn't discriminate between one thing and another. And there's time to do whatever is necessary to grow spiritually. That's why teachers should never be in conflict with each other. Because if a student really wants to grow, they can go to 20 teachers and there's room for all of them. And it's not one teaching versus another. That's just stupid, Does anyone have a question they would like?
I have a question, Stuart.
Yes.
Why is it that sometimes the mind is quiet and sometimes the mind is restless?
Look, Cyrus, it's the human condition. We're not always centered. We're not always balanced inside ourselves. And we drift off into this very powerful energy called the human mind. And people get lost in it. We all do. I sometimes really have to bring myself back to keep from getting swept away into all of that mental activity. Why? I don't know why. I do know that if you are centered and grounded inside, you understand, your mind will be relatively quiet. There'll always be some noise, but a little bit of noise is okay because it's a reminder that we still have to get grounded. Even occasionally getting swept away into that noise of the mind is not a negative thing. It's just a reminder that we have to build a much stronger system inside. So, I wish I could answer and say, well, here's a reason why. The reason why. I do know that I have never met anybody that doesn't, in one way or another, get swept away into the noise of the mind. I don't think, as I'll repeat it, I don't think that's negative. I think it's just telling us you got to go deeper. You got to build a stronger system in yourself. We need reminders like that. We need something to create the pearl of wisdom inside ourselves. And those irritations, emotions, mind, sexual energy, they exist to help us create that pearl. They're just a reminder that we need to go deeper. We need to build a stronger inner life. And I think if you look at it that way, it doesn't get upsetting. It's okay. It's telling me, it's teaching me something about me that I need to know. And now I need to work and build a much stronger inner life. When the mind is kind of just a little bit active, it's not going to interfere with the flow of creative energy. It's when the mind turns into Frankenstein, this kind of Count Dracula of the brain, then it interferes because it creates so much conflict and so much unhappiness in people. And structured life, living, dogmatic structured living in the way it has to be this way because my mind says so. And that really brings down the whole flow of creativity. But I'll say it again, a human being needs a certain degree of unsettledness in themselves. And I wouldn't get upset if you experience these things. Just say, okay, it's telling me something important I have to know. That I need to go deeper, I need to grow more, I need to open and become less filled with me and more filled with spiritual energy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question? You know, I'm getting to a point in my life where I don't see anything as negative. I see everything as energy. Everything is my teacher. And I've been wanting to get to this point for years and years. And it's finally beginning to happen where there is no negativity. It's all, there to teach me what I need to do to become more of a human being, to get closer to God, to get closer to higher energy, to be able to live here in a more conscious way. And I think, to me, that is something that I have just wanted to happen in my life as long as I can remember. It makes it possible to live with the unsettledness and to be able to transform it into a spiritual life. And there's always going to be something that's going to bug us, always. I mean, if something doesn't come along for 3 or 4 days, I begin to wonder what the hell's going on, Really. It's not that I look for it or ask for it, but it just comes. It's God giving me a kick in the butt, reminding me. Work deeper in the meditation classes. Work deeper in your daily life. Open more. Don't take your life for granted. Stop living with expectations. And just live with the moment. Does anyone else have a question? And just to finish this, it just takes training. One has to learn how to do all these things. We're kind of born that way, and then we lose it. And then the rest of life is getting it back. Yoga, meditation, whatever, therapist, it's looking for ways to rebuild that innocence and that love that we were born with. Okay, if there are no more questions, then there'll be a meditation tomorrow evening. Same time. God bless you all. Thank you. Once again, I'll thank you, all of you, for being my teacher, for being here and making it possible for me to grow in a deep way in my life. And I have a deep gratitude for that, every single one of you. God bless you all. And we'll have a class tomorrow evening. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart. Good night.
Good night.